Good morning. On this Monday morning that is sunny here in southwestern Pennsylvania and lovely crisp morning to wake up and walk. I'm gonna offer a practice today for nurturing both tenderness and empowerment. And I'm going to be drawing my meditation from this book called The Way of Tenderness, which is a really lovely book about awakening through race, sexuality, and gender by Zenju Earthlyn Minwell. And one of the things that I'm learning is that tenderness has this sense of, it feels spacious in my body and it feels very soft and open. But one of the things that we can learn through neuroscience is that when we're cultivating things like compassion, which I'll speak to in a minute, and tenderness, we're actually growing our inner resolve. We're developing resilience in all of the domains: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Compassion is an action. So compassion is an action that is this recognition of suffering, but in that recognition there's an acknowledgement of the inherent worth and value of that fellow being that is experiencing suffering. And so it's a response to that suffering that is recognizing that inherent worth. So we don't get to call ourselves compassionate. That has to be defined by the relationship that's not hierarchical. And compassion is also, it's a physiological experience in the body that when we are moved to act in compassion, what happens is the alarm system in the body goes off in response to seeing suffering. And typically that stress response in our body keeps us in that space. The sympathetic nervous system is engaged. The blood is rushing to your outer extremities. There's all sorts of physiological things happening in your body. But what happens in addition to that is the reward system is also activated in the brain, and that response releases oxytocin, which is called the cuddle hormone, into the body. So there's this really amazing experience of both the reward and the alarm system both being activated when we are talking about compassion. So we're going to be doing a slow movement practice today, inviting ourselves to just really let tenderness and empowerment integrate into our beings. And I see my friend Yamusa is watching. Hi, Yamusa. So I'm going to read, before we start our breath meditation and our movement, I'm going to read a little bit from this book. And hopefully during the time that we're in right now, hopefully this can be a way of thinking that can be helpful. We don't have to wait for death to approach to liberate ourselves from hatred. We can begin by asking ourselves, have I loved enough? Within myself, within my house, beyond my doors and into the world. Have I expressed the loving being that I am? Have I borne this love even when someone else's heart was closed to it? I am not advocating love or the way of tenderness as an answer to all the ills of the world. Then again, it is just that simple, to be love. We need such love to continue to confront the truth of the prolonged mistreatment that oppression brings to the world. So that's going to set the stage for our short practice today. I'm going to come to the back of the room and start our centering breath. So if you are wanting to join me, you can find a seat in a chair or on the floor and find a way to connect to where your body is in space and time, feeling the solidity of any of the support beneath you. And take your time to find a way to sit that feels supportive. You can let the shoulders come up and back. And just invite yourself to notice what it feels like to be in your Monday morning body. This has been a really intense week. So we have ways of feeling where that lands in our body And then finding ways to support ourselves so we can be present and embodied and cultivate an awareness of how things are landing in our body and what we need to do to support ourselves in each and every moment that arises. And something simply as basic as your hand position. I've been doing this a lot, placing a hand on my heart and a hand on my belly, hands resting palms down, palms up. So take the time to notice what feels supportive to you and choose that action. This is what we call the practice of skillful action. Cultivating an awareness of what feels supportive in your body and choosing that action. So once you've made that choice, you're welcome to visually orient yourself in space and time, noticing what's around you in the room you're in, maybe how the sunlight may be entering, any details that are available to you. And then you can softly focus or center your gaze somewhere or close your eyes. And just invite yourself to witness the rise and fall of your own breath in your body without changing it or altering it in any way. And just invite yourself to notice perhaps the feelings and sensations that have been present in your body this week without creating a story in your mind. Just invite yourself to notice what you felt. I have felt lots of different things. Numbed, outraged, shocked, that's landed in my body. I often feel like my throat closes off. There's a lot of anxiety that lands in my belly. My shoulders get tight. So you might notice that those situations have landed in your body, or you might have had something completely different than mine. Just inviting yourself to notice. And then we're going to engage with the breath here to slow down the breath on the inhale and the exhale. This has the potential to be calming to the central nervous system. So preferably we do that in and out through the nose. If that's not available to you, you can obviously use your mouth. But on your next available inhale, just bringing a little bit more air in as you breathe in. And as you exhale, slowly release all of that breath. The next breath arises, bringing a little bit more air in as you breathe in. Slowly releasing the breath as you breathe out. So invite yourself on your inhale, invite in a sense of expansion on that inhale. Invite a sense of release on the exhale. And just invite yourself to cultivate an awareness of what the sensation of breath feels like in your body. What does it feel like? Where do you feel that expansion as you breathe in? Where do you feel that release as you breathe out? And as you breathe in, invite your whole body to be part of that expansion in whatever way makes sense to you. I like to feel my skin actually expanding. And invite your whole body to release, letting gravity support that full release. We'll do 3 breaths together. That's one practice that I've been engaging in a lot. If I'm feeling like my nervous system is going to shut down, I'll invite myself, if I can just be present for 3 breaths, then I can have more clarity about what my action should be from this very challenging place. So let's do that together. On your next available inhale, breathing in, feeling that breath enter. Exhale, fully releasing that breath. Feeling that movement downward on the exhale. And then the next inhale arises from that, breathing in. All the way to the top of that inhale, and exhale, fully releasing it. And then we find our last breath, inhaling and exhaling. 3 breaths. Coming back to a regular breath cycle. And then I will invite you, if you choose to participate, in another practice that I do often, which is using sound. And we use the sound of the hum, which is this really beautiful sound that to me elicits a feeling of comfort. And it also is a sound that activates the vagus nerve, the longest running nerve in the central nervous system, and it wanders throughout our central nervous system. And we want this nerve to be toned and engaged, and humming, this simple act of humming can help with that. So if you choose to do that, your voice can travel or stay on one pitch. You don't have to do what I'm doing. The invitation is for you to notice what sound feels like in your body and how you might use it to reduce and release tension. Deep breath in. Taking a deep breath in and out. And if you like, you can rub your hands together. I like to do that to transition between a more contemplative practice to a more active. And we're going to be moving and breathing slowly and cultivating awareness, inviting tenderness and empowerment. I will guide some different options. So the invitation is for you to be present in your body, not necessarily to do what I'm doing, but to choose what feels right for you. So if your range of movement is different than mine, just coming to where your range of movement is available to you. Okay? So we'll begin by inhaling the arms up and exhaling into our heart center. Again, taking a pause here. Breathing in and out, cultivating the qualities of the heart center, whatever that might look like for you. Maybe it's patience, compassion, freedom. So we'll move with the breath in and out of the heart center, inhaling and exhaling. Finding your own pace and rhythm. Linking your breath and your movement together. And the next time we come back to the heart center, again, breathing in and out here. Feeling the beat of your own heart, the breath in your body. Taking a deep breath in and releasing. All right, so we'll come up again to center. Bring one arm down, it doesn't matter which one, to the side of your chair or the floor. Rotate the opposite shoulder. Let that arm come up and over. You can move the head and the neck around here. And then let the gaze come, if it is comfortable for your head and neck, to where the wall and the ceiling meet. If not, you can find a neutral place for your gaze. And just breathing in and out here, feeling that space in the side body. Taking a deep breath in, coming up, and then slowly release, coming over to the other side, keeping your spine nice and long. Just coming to the edge of that twist, and inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, just allow the exhale to deepen your release into the twist, just ever so slightly. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, just allow the exhale to release you into the twist. Inhaling and exhaling. And then your next inhale will come up again and exhale. Notice the difference between the two sides. So we'll inhale again, coming up This time exhale, bringing the other arm down to the chair or the floor. Rotate the torso, that other arm comes up and over. And again, you can move the head and neck around here, releasing any tension you might be carrying here. And then finding that place where your gaze can rest, breathing in and out, and then inhaling up, exhaling over to the other side. Again, coming to the edge of that twist, inhale, lengthening the spine, exhale, surrendering into a deeper expression, ever so slight. The movement is very slight. Inhaling and exhaling. And then taking a deep breath in, and just go ahead and allow yourself to come back to center, breathing in and out, noticing what's present. And then we're going to inhale, opening up the rib cage, lifting the gaze, opening up the throat. Exhale, coming forward on the exhale, moving with the breath here, sort of like a wave that crests in the ocean, comes to shore, to touch the shore, only to come back out into the ocean, moving at your own pace and flow. And then the next time you come forward, go ahead and let the shoulders move around, the head and the neck. Again, releasing any tension you might be carrying. And then walking the hands back up. And before we come to standing, just inviting yourself to bring your fingertips to the jaw and give yourself a little massage, especially if you're someone who grinds your teeth at night, or if you're holding a lot of tension. This is how people are using their voices now, is very interesting. So connecting to this part of our body where we can resource ourselves to speak truth to injustice, letting the hands come back behind the neck, nice massage in the neck and the shoulders. Again, this whole area energetically, this is, the place we come to communicate, to speak truth, and we often carry a lot of tension in this area. So breathing in and out, supporting ourselves in our responsible words, and then releasing. Breathing in, breathing out. And we're going to come to standing, and I'll guide, if you are wanting to do this practice with a chair as a support, I will guide that verbally as well. But if you can come to standing, you can, if you're choosing to use a chair for support, you can place the chair with the seat part in front of you and have it here to support yourself. Actually, I'll do that so you can see what that looks like in my chair here. So I have the seat of the chair facing me, so I don't have to bring, if I don't choose to, I don't have to bring my hands all the way to the floor. But we'll start first just by standing, letting your feet come about hip width apart. Invite yourself to move around a little bit in your feet. Really feel all of the different points of contact in your feet. You can lift and separate the toes and drop them down. Really anchor your body. I have the tendency to lock into my knees. That's sort of a lifetime habit. And it feels more stable, but it's not helpful, right? Here, I feel like I got my wiggle. I'm connected to the earth, and we're supposed to wiggle, we're supposed to move. So find your way of connecting, find your wiggle, whatever that looks like for you. And we're going to move and breathe here just for a moment. We're going to inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, come into a standing squat, bending at the ankles. Feeling that really solid connection with the lower part of your body. Inhale, come up on the tiptoes if that feels right. And then exhale down. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, coming into the standing squat, bending at the ankles. If you like, you can come up on your tiptoes here. Come all the way up. And exhale, hands to prayer. So we're going to move through a series of foundational forms, and we'll be engaging with what's called this Virabhadrasana, which are the warriors. And the warrior in yoga is not aggressive or defensive, but embodies this idea of courage and vulnerability at the same time. So that is our invitation in our practice of exploring tenderness and empowerment. So you are welcome to come to standing if you want to face the chair. I also have blocks here as a support. I'll verbally guide options and choices for you. Coming to the soles of the feet. I'm not assuming anyone has a yoga mat, so if you're on your floor or a carpet, a towel, whatever, you're just feeling into the feet again, grounding. It's what we call grounding, feeling our bodies in space and time. And then connecting to your center of gravity. I like to feel like I'm lifting my torso out of the pelvic bowl. And then the heart is open. My heart is open from a place of being grounded and connected. So we can bring the hands here, again, this beautiful, universal expression of reverence and awe for life. Breathing in and out. And then we'll inhale, we'll come all the way up. Exhale, hinging at the hips. You can bring your hands to the chair. You don't have to come down very far. If you tend to get dizzy, keep your gaze forward. If that doesn't affect you, you can come and let the hands come down. You can keep your gaze forward or drop your head. And if it doesn't, if you don't tend to be someone who gets dizzy, or if you don't deal with eye issues, let the blood rush to your head a couple times a day. It's actually really good for your central nervous system. So you can have your hands on the chair and walk back to get a nice stretch, or you can do that with your hands on the floor or any other supports. Again, lengthening the spine. You can pedal the feet here. Again, you're welcome to keep the gaze lifted or drop the head. Head can be between the arms. Breathing in and out. We're going to walk our hands back. I'm going to bring my feet a little closer together. Round up. And we did this last week if you tuned in, this slow meditative walk. Again, really being intentional about what our walk in the world looks like right now. How am I showing up? What are my thoughts and words and actions coming from a place of skillfulness, of recognizing the fullness of humanity of all beings, and how, if not, how can I get there? So being very intentional with this slow meditative walk, feeling your feet on the earth, coming back up to where we started. And we'll inhale here, bringing the arms up. Exhale, let the hands come to your hips. Shifting your weight into the right foot. Keep an awareness of that center of gravity. You can just step that left foot right back, or if you like, you can bring the knee up and sort of experiment a little bit with balance. Step back. And again, here we want to anchor ourselves into this back leg. Tuck the tailbone a little bit. Engage the feet as you bend that front knee. And then we can bring the arms. You can experiment with what feels right for your body. Maybe letting the arms come out here to the side. Maybe this, what we call cactus or goddess arms. Arms straight up. You can experiment with whatever expression feels right for your body. Breathing in and out. And then taking a deep breath in. Go ahead and lengthen the spine. Lead with the heart, letting your hands come to the chair, to any supports, or to either side of the right foot. Slowly straightening that right leg, keeping the spine nice and long. Breathing in, breathing out. And then you can step both feet together and walk them back, or you can just walk that right leg back. You have the option to stay here, or you can come into a plank or any other vinyasa or movement that you might be familiar with if you are someone who practices regularly. And then again, we'll walk the hands back to the feet. Slowly round up. And then again, being very intentional about our walk in the world right now, having that slow, meditative walk, finding our way into being in integrity with our values, our beliefs. Letting our hands come to prayer. Inhale, come all the way up here. And exhale, letting our hands come to our hips again. Here we'll shift our weight to our left foot. Find that center of gravity by really connecting into the, rooting into the tailbone. You can step that right leg right back, or you can bring the knee up in sort of slow motion. Work with balance to plant that back foot. Again, we build this from the bottom up. We ground, we ignite, we open. Finding those points and extending from those points to the expression that feels right for you with this balance of courage and vulnerability. This playing between tenderness and the relationship between tenderness and empowerment. Letting that land in our physical bodies. Taking a deep breath in, and as you come forward, leading with the heart, your hands can come to your hips, to the chair, to the floor, anywhere that feels right for you, keeping your spine nice and long. You can slowly straighten that left leg and bring the right hip forward. Keeping the breath nice and deep and full. And then take your time to step the right foot forward. Inhale, coming all the way up. And exhaling our hands to prayer. Again, feeling the heat between your hands, inviting yourself to notice the breath in your body. Paying attention to being alive. Releasing the hands. And then we'll come and step into a wider legged stance. And if you like, you can bring the chair and have it in front of you here, because we're going to come into a forward fold, a wide-legged forward fold. And you can have the chair so you don't have to come all the way down to the floor if that's not available. Here, I'll mirror. We'll turn the right foot forward and the left heel back. And feeling that engagement here. The right arm is in front, the left arm is in back, and we just simply bend that front knee. And we'll move here with the breath, inhaling and exhaling. Inviting yourself to occupy your body without apology. And the next time you come to that exhale, breathing in and out here. We'll inhale that top arm up, fingertips toward heaven, fingertips toward earth. And again, you're invited here. You can move with the breath here if you choose, or you can decide you want to come to one of these and take a couple breaths before you move to the other. So you can decide. Use your own agency to make skillful choices in your body. And the next time you come with that right arm up, fingertips toward heaven, fingertips toward earth, breathing in. And exhale, slowly releasing. We'll turn towards center. And then we'll inhale at center. Exhale, nice long spine, coming all the way down. Your hands can be on the chair here. You can bring your hands to your hips and keep your spine nice and long. Or you can walk your hands down wherever it feels right for you. And again, keeping your gaze lifted if you deal with dizziness or things like that. If it doesn't present an obstacle for you, you can let the head hang. And invite yourself to slow and deepen the breath here. Make sure you don't let all the weight in your body go to the outside of your feet, but keep the feet engaged. See if you can move shift your engagement towards the big toe and the inner part of the heel. And breathe in, breathe out. And then go ahead and walk the hands forward if they're not already there. You can bring the heels toward one another, a little bend in both knees. Come into a little squat to help you come up to center. And we'll switch to the other side. Left foot forward, right heel back. Again, take your time to engage the feet. Find the core support. Let that left arm come in front, right arm in back, and gently bend that front knee. And again, inhaling and exhaling. And the next time you come to an exhale here, breathing in and out. We have one hand in the future, one in the past, but our heart and our core are solidly in this present moment. And inhale this top arm up, fingertips toward heaven, fingertips toward earth. Here you are in between and moving with the breath. And next time you come to an inhale with that left arm up, fingertips toward heaven, fingertips toward earth, breathing in. And slowly releasing on the exhale. We'll walk the feet in together. And we'll explore a balance form before we move into meditation. So again, this doesn't have to be a balance form. I should change my wording of that. We're going to explore being rooted and grounded and extending out from that place of being rooted and grounded. So that doesn't have to look like a balance form. The form that I'll invite you into is called tree, and there's lots of ways to experience that, including this. Really connecting, feeling that sense of awareness. When we look at trees, we see them as these, I'm seeing the trees on my street. They're these trees. Some of them are maples, some of them are oaks, some of them are Rose of Sharon. There's different types of trees, but underneath the earth, their roots are all interconnected and intertwined. And there's a lot of forest science coming out that's talking about how trees communicate both in their root systems under the ground and in their interfaces with each other above ground. So this idea that we are rooted and connected is really important. That we see ourselves as part of the earth, not separate from it. And that we learn to, is the book that I referred to, Way of Tenderness, the multiplicity of oneness. And not to rank identity, but to have an awareness of the beautiful, being part of the beautiful diversity of species on this planet. So we can do that lots of different ways. This is one way. If you want to try it as a balance, shift your weight to one foot. You can bring your other foot anywhere but the knee joint. You can let your hands come in lots of different expressions, but just this idea of exploring being rooted, grounded, and then extending out from that place. Anchoring into your breath. 2 more breaths. And inviting a slow release. And again, you're welcome to come back into it, and you can explore that. If you're doing a balance, you can come over to the other side. If you're rooting and grounding with both feet, you can come into that expression. Two more breaths. And take your time to release, letting a little bit of free movement, finding your wiggle, or sometimes this movement feels really nice to do. This is a movement I encourage you to do if you're spending a lot of time sitting. Getting up and sort of just moving your body is really important. So I will invite you to come to a place where you can be still. I'm going to play some music for you, and then I'm going to read something else from The Way of Tenderness as a meditation today. So you're welcome to come to seated if you're not already seated. You're welcome to lie on your back, on your belly or your side. Taking your time to find a way to support yourself, noticing your breath. Notice if there's been any shift or change in your breath since when we started our practice together to where we are now. And just inviting yourself to receive sound. So I'm grateful for your presence here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share practice. And I want to read again for you. I want to end our time together with some words from Zenzu Earthland Manuel from The Way of Tenderness. I highly recommend this book. Race, sexuality, and gender are said to be illusions without reality. And yet we feel their presence and hear their footsteps like invisible monsters coming at us. But there are no monsters. When we begin to treat race, sexuality, and gender, these locations of life, as much needed paths to awakening, we will no longer fear them as monsters. We are more willing to explore and engage our various embodiments when we understand them to be paths of transformation. If we do not anchor our inquiry into life within the undeniable physical reality in which we live, spiritual awakening will remain far too abstract. And in order to get here, stillness is important. I speak simply of just being still, of finding that place where our only act is breathing. In this state of stillness, we do not seek answers for our active minds, but we allow one breath to be the total experience of life. A moment is simply in a state of being itself. We too can be in a state of being ourselves and not worry about now. We can be wholly ourselves as ourselves while engaging the breath. As a result of this breath, as a result of the meditation that arises from it, our motivations become purified of our wounds our expectations, our stories, and our distorted perception of others. Our actions begin to bubble up naturally from the well of multiplicity in oneness and interrelationship. Our actions become the spirit of social justice in which we are all recognized as the various expressions of nature. What a beautiful thought. So I'll leave that with you. Hopefully these words can be of comfort, of motivation, of inspiration during these very challenging times. And again, inviting ourselves to embody what we want to see in the world, inviting ourselves to cultivate the qualities of fearlessness, of compassion, of tenderness. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, whether you're watching this live or you're seeing it later or even on my YouTube channel. I am blessed to be able to share practice during these times, honoring this beautiful practice, its origins, its roots, the Indus Valley, where it was given birth, and many different manifestations of the teachings, honoring the teachers, honoring the wisdom and the light and the shadow that is present everywhere. Shanti.